Yes. So, hello everyone. Good evening. Campus. This is the fourth session of campus credentials, and we are conducting a session on TCS verbal ability. That is a TCS specific verbal ability. And the plan of the
Yes.
session is
So,
initially I'm going to
hello
go
everyone.
through
Good evening.
different
Campus.
topics
This is
which
the
are
fourth.
asked in the exam of TCS. That is the question paper. There are close to 25 questions, and the time allocated for 25 questions of verbal ability is 25 minutes, close to 25 minutes. There would be 7 questions on reading comprehension, which is very important topic of our discussion today. Then the second topic would be your fundamental grammar of TCS, which constitutes your sentence completion, then your one word substitute, error detection, and most importantly, TCS specific formal informal statements. So this will be the topics which we are going to discuss today in our session. And if there are any questions, I would welcome the questions through live chat, and I would be happy to answer them. I want these sessions to be interactive, and even though you will not be able to ask the questions through YouTube, what I want is I want you to ask the questions through YouTube, that is typing them in the chat message of YouTube. Okay. So let's start our session. First of all, uh, as we discussed, this is the TCS specific grammar. So let me tell you that there are going to be 3 topics from fundamental grammar and 3 topics from applicative English. So before we go ahead, a little difference between a fundamental grammar and applicative English. In fundamental grammar, all the rules of grammar are very important. That is, you should know all the rules of subject verb agreement, tenses, uh, nouns, pronouns, verbs, adverb, adjective, preposition, conjunction, interjunction. That is all the parts of speech, idioms, phrases, and so on. And spelling errors, spelling completion is again very important topic. So you should know the rules pertaining to it. Applicative English, we have 3 specific topic. One is reading comprehension. Again, here we have set of instructions. So I'm going to help you how to navigate through different reading strategies, which reading strategies should be used in what kind of questions, which kind of questions. So I'm going to discuss about that as well. Then I'm going to discuss a set of instructions for para jumble or sentence rearrangement, which is a very favorite topic of TCS. So we are going to discuss about that as well. And then we are going to discuss sentence completion. Okay. So all these 3 topics of applicative English, that is sentence completion, reading comprehension, sentence rearrangement, these topics have sets of instructions. And your fundamental grammar, the topics have what we call it as rules. All the rules should be well versed. So what I'm going to do is initially I'm going to go through 30 examples, uh, and initially the examples should be very easy. I'm going to explain the examples, and as we progress, I want you to type in the chat box what would be the answers. Okay. And I'm going to give you the explanations for the same as well. So right now you can see the PowerPoint presentation in front of you. This is TCS grammar, and this slide particularly has 30 questions, and it's a 62 slides. There are 62 slides, and I'm going to go through each question. So initially, the topics would be the questions would be easy, but I want to make it an interactive session. No trainer likes to speak with invisible people, and you are visible, you are interactive, you are actively listening to me. This can be seen through your chat box. So I want my chat box to be very active. So if you're able to hear me, I want you to type in, I want to go through this thing, type in something so that I'll be able to see that you people are active. Yes. Yes. Fine. Let's go ahead. Let's go ahead. So my first question is based on preposition. My first question is based on preposition. Okay. So look carefully. Can't you dash the resemblance between the mother and the daughter? You have make off, you have make up, make away, make out. So this is a preposition specific question. Okay, I'm going to tell you what is a preposition. I'm going to let you know the definition of preposition, but I want you to type in answer. Preposition is a word used with a noun or a pronoun to show its relation with the object. Okay, and the word is preposition, that is before the object. So I want to type in whether it's a make off, make up, make away, make out. Show me the answers. Yes. Great, 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 great. Okay, so what the answer? Hello? Am I audible? Hello? Am I audible? Yes, great. So the answer is, okay, make up, make off, make away, make out. The answer is what? Yes, people type in. Okay, make off means to run away, to escape. Make up means to invent, to innovate. Make away means rob or steal. Okay, so here the question is, look carefully. Can't you make out the resemblance between the mother and the daughter? It's not make up, it's not make up, it's not make away, it's make out. The reason is you are figuring out something. Okay, so here the word resembles is in the context make out. Okay, so the answer is make out. Make off means to run away or to escape. Make up means to invent or to innovate. Make away means to rob or steal. Great. I've got few amazing answers. That's good. Fine. Second one is, I have achieved a life goal, a dream for yourself, for myself, dash I had for many years. The winner said. The winner said. So the options are who, which, whom, whose. Okay, so let the answer come in. I have achieved a life goal, a dream for myself, dash I had for many years. Who is for the person? Whom is you're talking about somebody. Okay, but here you're talking about a dream. So the answer would be which. I have achieved a life goal, a dream for myself, which I had for many years. So here you're talking about a specific thing that is your dream, a metaphysical thing. So the answer is which. Okay, so that's the answer is which. So let's go for the next question. Before that, there is an explanation. Here, the subject of the sentence is the speaker, but the relative pronoun that we need will demonstrate the relation with the dream. Since dream is a non-living idea, we cannot use who because that's a person, whose or whom, hence we use which. So it's, as I said, it's a metaphysical, that's a non-living thing. So the answer is which because it's not a person. Fine, we'll go for the next question. The lady dash purse was lost, lodged a complaint at the police station. Now here we are talking about a person, and here it's not about a purse. A lady I want an answer. Yes, let the answers flow in. Great. A lady whose purse was lost lodged a complaint at the police station. The lady whose purse was lost lodged a complaint at the police station. So here we are talking about the person, so that's the reason it's whose. Okay, so let's go for the explanation. Whose is a relative pronoun that takes the place of a noun pertaining to relate with a person. Here we relate the pronoun whose, which shows a belonging or a position of this object, purse, with the subject, the lady. Hence, we use whose as the answer. Great. Fantastic. I cannot completely agree with your opinion. Answer is completely. Now, why it's completely? Completing is a verb, okay, with ing form. So that's going to be a present continuous or a past continuous tense, but it's not about that. We are talking about the opinion. Okay. So here it's an adverb, and the adverb is completely. I cannot completely agree with your opinion because complete is the first form of the verb, simple present tense. But here we are not talking about action. Here we are talking about opinion. That is, we have to use an adverb. So it is, I cannot completely agree with your opinion. Okay, so the answer is completely C. In the sentence above, the blank is before the verb agree. Any verb is modified by use of an adverb. Hence, we need the adverb form of complete, which is completely. So we use completely. So the answer is completely, which is an adverb. Okay, let's go ahead. The substitute teacher admitted that they were dash children, naughty children, as she had expected. As to, not much, as about, not much. Now look at this. As about and as to. Here it should have been as much. I'm sorry. The second answer here, I would say that it should be have as much. Okay, D, that is D. It should have been as much. Not much, not much has been repeated. So here the options are as to, not much, as about, as much. The substitute teacher admitted that they were dash naughty children as she had expected. So the answer should be what? Here we are not talking about number. Okay, here we are talking about the specific thing. So the substitute teacher admitted that they were not as much naughty children as she had expected. So children were not that naughty. They were really good. So the answer is D, as much. Okay. Hence the word naughty is an adjective and it is uncountable. Hence we can take it quality but not quantity. Since the sentence means that the children were not a lot naughty, we can use the word not such. Here we have comparison between what she had expected and what they were in reality, and such gives the degree of comparison of their naughtiness. So as much, not such, that would be the answer. Okay, let's go ahead. I think the shopkeeper pulled a fast one dash you. This is not an original product. Let the answers come in. Let the answers come in. I think the shopkeeper pulled a fast one. Over you, at you, in you. This is not an original product. What should have been the answer? What should have been the answer? Okay, I'll stop sharing the screen for a minute because I want to see the chat section for once. So I want an answers from you people. Let me go through the chat section. What should be the answer? I think the shopkeeper pulled a fast one. Over you? No. At you? It's not about specific thing. In you? It should not be the answer. So the answer is on you. On you. Let me see the option of screen sharing once again. Yes. Absolutely. No. Give me a moment. The problem with my screen sharing. Yes. So there is a problem with my screen sharing. Yes, I've come here. I think the shopkeeper pulled a fast one on you. This is not an original product. So here the explanation is the sentence here refers to an action that is abstract in the sense of its performance. And since the action was done by one person to the other, we use on to depict the correct preposition. So here the correct preposition is on. Okay, let's go ahead. The security guard dash leave ended 2 days ago has not yet reported back to the work. Whom? We are talking about the person, but it's not the answer. Whose leave ended 2 days ago has not yet reported back to the work. Who? Which? The answer is whose leave ended 2 days ago has not yet reported back to the work. The answer should be whose. Whose is a relative pronoun that takes the place of a noun pertaining to relate with a person. Here we relate the pronoun whose, which shows a belonging or a possession of the object, leave with the subject, the security guard. Hence we use whose as the answer. Let's go to next question. Last week, Madhuri and her family went to the farmhouse dash her grandmother had built 2 decades ago. Here again, it's a pronoun. It's not whose, it's not there, that her grandmother had built. You're talking about a house, so it should be that. Last week, Madhuri and her family went to the farmhouse that her grandmother had built 2 decades ago. So that should be the answer, that. Here the sentence is divided into two clauses where the second part of the sentence is given importance, additional information about the first part and the subject, the farmers. Hence, we cannot exclude the second clause, which makes it a restrictive clause, and it uses that, an appropriate explanation. Let's go to the next question. Okay. Self-styled visionaries and people particularly fond of their pajamas have for decades been arguing that a lot of work done in large shared offices could be better done at home. With COVID-19, their dash were put on test in a huge, if not randomized trial. The preliminary results are now in. Yes, a lot of work can be done at home. And what is more, many people seem to dash doing it there. So the options are, the first is mindset, ideas, philosophies, and designs. And the second fill in the blank, the options are desire, select, prove, prefer. Okay. So what should be the answer? Let the messages, let the things come in. What should be the answer? In the meantime, I want you to think about it. I'll stop sharing the screen for a while. I want you people to type in the answers and let's see. What should be the answers? Let the answers flow in. Yes, that's right. Great, 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 great. Fantastic. Yes. So the answer is first is A. With COVID-19 there, ideas were put to the test in a huge, if not randomized trial. The preliminary results are now in. Yes, a lot of work can be done at home. And what is more, many people seems to prefer doing it there. Okay, prefer doing it there. The passage talks about self-styled visionaries and their ideas, concepts, and innovation. Since the second sentence is about how, due to COVID-19, their idea to work from home manifested in full force, hence we use ideas in the first blank. The second blank here is about how people have now adapted to work from home and they want to do it from there. Hence, their preference is work from home. So we use prefer in the second blank. Great. Let's go ahead. Again, sentence completion. Read it carefully. Sentence completion, the question on sentence completion. Read the passage carefully, then select the words option listed A to D with best fill in the blank. The moon should give you a feeling of confidence, but it will affect your temper and there will be a few mood swings, and these in turn will bring dash self-doubt. It's certainly occasional cowardice many. Okay. Self-doubt. We are talking about self-doubt. So there should not be many because it's a number. Now you have to select the right one for the self-doubt, whether it's certainly occasional, see cowardice. Optimism breeds success and attracts anger, potential bylaw, dangerous employees. I don't know. Watch out for a dictatorial and take evasive action. If you can stay out their way, then you will end the day much happier. So please type in the answers. Definitely with first fill in the blank. Many is not the option because here we are not talking about a number. Okay, I'll read it for you once again. The moon should give you a feeling of confidence, but will affect your temper, and that there will be a mood swings. And these in turn will bring occasional self-doubt or cowardice. Cowardice, of course, it's not, it doesn't go with the self-doubt. Certainly self-doubt or occasional self-doubt. It can be occasional self-doubt. That should be the answer. However, in the final analysis, you should feel hopeful about future. Okay. Optimism breeds success and attracts anger, no, potential, bylaw, or dangerous employees. You should, I want you to type in the answers. Okay. So, potential. Second option. The passage is about the moon and its effects on a person's mood. For the first fill in the blank, we use occasional because the sentence prior to it talks about few mood swings, and hence takes it occasional. For the second blank, we use potential because positivity, optimism, and success will attract only who have potential to attract them, not dangerous. Okay, so here the answer should be potential employees. The moon should give you a feeling of confidence, but will affect your temper, and there will be a mood swings, and these in turn will bring occasional self-doubt. However, in the final analysis, you will feel should be hopeful about the future. Optimism breeds success and attracts potential employees. Great. Let's go for the next question. Which of the following sentence does not use formal language? People, here we have to know something about what is a formal language and what is informal language. Let me give an explanation for 1 minute or speak on this topic for 1 minute. Formal language, whenever you write something, see, there are two English, as we know, formal English and informal or written or verbal communication. In verbal communication, we use lot of jargons, we use lot of idioms, we use lot of phrases. But when it comes to written communication, there are certain rules which we need to follow. As a fresher and as a potential employee of TCS, what any company expects, since you are going to be a brand ambassador for a company, it's not only your communication skills, but your written communication also matters. So formal communication is very important. Now, what are the rules of formal communication? The rules are like you cannot use what we can say exclamation mark. Now there we have a exclamation mark in the option B. Then we cannot use short forms. They want a full sentence. The sentence should be assertive. The sentence should make a complete sense. So these are the kind of things. Or if there is a single word, like we use T20 match, now it should be hyphenated, or one day international. So when you use one day international, you use a full word one day. You're not talking about one and day separate, but you're talking about a one day international match. That is the type of match. So it should be hyphenated, like 50% or 50%, 50% or 55, then it should be hyphenated. So these are the rules which we need to follow in formal English. So in short time, we will serve refreshments. Okay. There is no full stop, but anyways, we'll accept that. Welcome aboard. To operate your seatbelt, insert the metal tab into the bulk and pull tight. We have an exclamation mark. This is a final onboarding call for passengers. Neha and Mohit Saini booked on flight 327A to Kansas City. Okay. We would like to thank you folks for flying with us today. Now, uh, this is a short form. Officially, it should not have been. Short form should not be used. Okay. So, what should be the answer? I want the answers to come from your side. Let the answers come from your side. What should be the answer? Great. Let me see the screen and stop sharing for a minute. So I want to see the answers. Great, great. I'm getting some good answers. Fantastic, fantastic, fantastic. Fantastic. Okay, good. Okay. So in order to differentiate between formal and informal sentence, we need to understand few rules. As I've told you all these rules. Don't use any contraction for formal language. That's true. I've just given an explanation. Don't use any formal language like gonna, short forms. So short forms are not allowed. Don't use any exclamation or proverbs from the formal language. That's great. So here the answer is, this is a final onboarding call. So the answer is C, because as I given in the explanation, A, B, and D, all the three categories fall in this. Great, fantastic. So let's go for the next question. Which of the following sentences uses formal language? Again, as I've told you in the beginning itself, TCS focuses on formal and informal. So we have to understand all the rules and nitty-gritties and intricacies of formal and informal language, because they want you to be very precise in your written communication. And that's the reason we have so many questions. So let's read the question. Do not stress yourself, we'll figure it out somehow. This was really cool. Keep them coming. Again, it's M and hyphen exclamation sentence. You are required to submit the documents for due diligence prior to release of the loan. It should have been separate prior to. I'll just make it prior to release of the loan. This just doesn't work on for me. You will have to make another submission of the design. Again, here it's a short form doesn't. Then there is a spelling mistake and exclamation mark. So here we have two answers. Do not stress yourself. We'll figure it out somehow. Okay. You're required to submit the documents for due diligence prior to release of the loan. So the answer should be what? You're required to submit the documents for due diligence prior to release of loan. Either it can be C or it can be A. Do not stress yourself. We'll figure it out somehow. Let's go to the answers. Again, there is an explanation. Okay. Do not use contraction. We have used it. Do not use short forms, gonna, wanna. So let's keep that thing aside. So the option C is right. The only sentence that uses formal terms and full form is you are required to submit the documents for due diligence prior to release of the loan. So this should have been the answer. Like all other sentences, we will figure it out somehow. So this we will, it should not have been we will, it should, it's we will, it's correct here, but we cannot use short forms. Great. So the answer is C, you are required to submit the documents for due diligence prior to release of loan. Great. Let's go for the next question. Which of the following sentence does not use informal language? Did you locate your office quite easily? We shall endeavor to inform you of the positions in 2 weeks' time. You will be working with different managers during your training. Is there anything else? It should have been, is there anything else you want to ask? Okay. So these are the four options. Which of the following sentence does not use informal language? So please type in your answers, A, B, C, D. Which of the following sentences does not use informal language, sorry. Okay, let's go to the explanation. Again, it's the same explanation as we have gone through. I've told you the difference between formal, contraction won't allowed, informal, gonna, all these things are not allowed. So the answer here is the sentence, we shall endeavor to inform you of the position in 2 weeks' time. Here it uses formal terms like endeavor, inform, and has a formal underlying tone. Okay, so answer is B. Okay, you will be working with different managers during your training. Again, it's not the answer. Did you locate your office quite easily? Okay, so the answer is we shall endeavor to inform the position. It is an assertive. People, let me give you an explanation for 1 minute. This particular sentence is an assertive communication. Most of the time in corporates, when we are working as a fresher, we need to take care that we use the assertive language. And whenever we complete a sentence, that sentence should make a complete sense. The sentence should be either simple sentence. If there are compound sentences, we should have used conjunctions very appropriately. And the second option B uses the sentences uses the conjunctions appropriately. So the answer is B. Let's go for the 14th question. Which of the following sentences use informal language? The candidate whom she had approved appeared in an interview before the hospital board. The candidate she picked turned up to meet the hospital board. The candidate whom she had finalized was ultimately rejected by the hospital board. The candidate whom she had rejected was ultimately chosen by the hospital board. Now look at all the verbs. People, I want you to focus on the verbs. Approved, picked, finalized, rejected. So, of course, we don't pick the candidates, is it not? We suggest or approve them, is it not? The candidate whom she had finalized was ultimately rejected by the hospital board. Okay. The candidate whom she had rejected was ultimately chosen by the hospital board. Okay. Now here, it's an assertive sentence. And in two cases, it's rejected. A, it says, so B is absolutely not an answer because you cannot pick up the candidate. So that's not a formal language. Okay. The candidate whom she had approved appeared in an interview before the hospital board. So officially, the answer should be A. Okay, let me give an explanation. In order to differentiate, we know the rules. You use any contraction. Of course, I've gone through all the rules. I don't need to go through once again. In the option, give us three sentences are formal while the one is informal. The sentence that is informal is the candidate she picked up to the meet the hospital board. Here it uses picked instead of approved. So all the three are right answers, that is formal. Only informal is the B one. But let me tell you something. If you have more specific to choose, okay, approved, it's correct, but finalized is also correct. Appeared in an interview before the hospital board. In these two cases, rejected, uh, are ultimately again has had she had rejected. So I would rather, if there is the opposite kind of a perspective which could have been asked in an answer, I would have asked you to choose A. But since here you have to choose only one informal, the answer is B. But again, if the search narrows down, then it should be A. Okay, for which one is most formal? Okay, then it could be A 14. Great. Let's go ahead. 15th. Which of the following sentences uses formal language? Shall we put this on our agenda for the next client meet? This presentation takes the cake. Now, again, it's an exclamation mark, so it's rejected. I am disappointed with the sales figure. They need to look up. Again, there is an exclamation mark, as well as there is a short form. So these two are gone. Apologize for the technical glitch that occurred during our webinar yesterday. So again, uh, A and D, it should have been, I'll just change the, I'll just correct it because they should not have been the answers. Okay, but anyways, you can understand it's A or D. The answer is, shall we put this our agenda on our agenda next week? It's A, and I'll tell you why. Okay, yes, it's A and why. Uh, shall we put this on our agenda for the next client meet? The D can be also correct because apologize and sorry, it can be asked, but here it's more specific. So here the answer is, let me tell you why A is not been included. Yes, shall we put this on our agenda for the next client meet? Instead of use put this, we could use attach. Yes, again, this is a wonderful thing. Let me tell you what is this the problem with put. Okay, people put is when you come up with something which has to be kept somewhere, or it's a physical entity. So since it's not a physical entity here, it should have been attached. Okay, so the right answer here, it's only I apologize for the technical glitch that occurred during our webinar. So let me tell you, TCS formal, it's this specific. You have to go to a very good level of using a formal language. So in fact, I was with A and D, but in fact, I just remember it. It's put cannot be used in a formal sentence. It should have been attached. Okay, so the final thing is answer is only D. Which of the following sentence does not use informal language? Does not use informal language. Can we sort out this? Can we sort this out together? This is a high priority account. Take care. Again, there is an exclamation mark. Thanks a lot for sharing this information. I sincerely apologize for the oversight. Okay. You people have given, most of you have given the right answer. It's D. Okay. This sentence that is formal, I sincerely apologize for the oversight. Here uses the formal term like sincerely apologize and oversight. So all these terms has been correctly used. So the answer is D. A, C, D. Thanks a lot for sharing this information. Thanks again is an informal. Exclamation mark should not have been used. Can we sort out this together? This should not have been used. Okay. So the answer is D. Let me go to the next question. Which of the following sentence does not use informal language? Again, sorry, I could not come by last. You pick up some ice on your way back. Sorry, I could not attend your party last night. The professor's lecture was way over my head. The professor's lecture was way over my head. I want the answers to flow in from your side. Let's understand. Which of the following sentence does not use informal language? Does not use informal language. Okay, great. Sorry, I could not come by last time. Okay, can you pick up some ice? Okay. Sorry, I could not attend. Okay. Yes. Answer is D. That's correct. That's correct. Why? Sorry, answer is sorry, could not attend your party last night. Answer is D. Now, what is the problem with D? Answer this C. What is the problem with D? Here it's a possessive case. The professor's lecture was way over my head. Here it's possessive case. Let me tell you, the first three options are informal, and the only sentence is sorry, I could not attend your party last night. Let me tell you something. Sorry, I could not come by last time. Here it's a grammatically incorrect sentence. Can you pick up? We have already discussed about this in the previous question. So can you pick up some ice on your way back? This is again an informal tone. Sorry, I could not attend your party last time. This is again a formal tone. The professor's lecture. Okay. The lecture conducted by the professor was way over my head. See, people, we can use possessive case, but in this particular thing, we cannot be the possessive case cannot be used. So the answer is only C. Sorry, I could not attend your party the last night. Great. Let's go ahead. 18th question. Which of the following option mentions the same as highlighted above? I admired the way my brother could think outside the box. Okay, I admired the way my brother could think outside the box. My brother was thinking while walking about. Okay, my brother was too simple and only wanted a peace and tranquility. My brother could give interesting and unusual solution to problems. My brother used to call this his office a box. He could think new things. So here the exact term is people, we have to understand, out of thinking outside the box, this is a phrase which we use, okay, all the time. So it is something interesting and unusual solution. This is not a conventional solution. Thinking out of the box, it's an unconventional solution. So that's the reason the answer is C. My brother could give interesting and unusual solutions to the problem. So the option is C. Yes, the option is C. That was the easy one. Let's go to the next question. Select the most appropriate meaning of the phrase italicized below. After working through the day and half the night, the doctors decided to call it a day. Phone their families, check their time, stop working, call other doctors for the day. So definitely calling the day, this is again a phrase where we use not to phone our family. Calling a day, that doesn't mean to phone their family, check their time. No, that means stop working. So the answer is C, stop working. Answer is C. Here the highlighted part is an idiom, call it a day, which is grammatical in grammatical terms means to put a stop at working or any time that a person is doing. So the answer is stop working. Fine. Let's go ahead. The man with the black bag dash we saw in the closed circuit TV did not look suspicious at all. Here we are talking about a man. We are not talking about a bag. Which we saw in the closed circuit. Whom we saw. Whose. Of course, A and B are not the option. So please give me your answers between C and D. Yes, that's true. That's true. When we refer to the object of the sentence with relative pronoun, we use whom and not who. So the man with the black bag, whom we saw in closed circuit TV, did not look suspicious at all. So the answer is whom. That's good. Okay. In the sentence, in the question below, the sentence has been given in direct speech and indirect speech. From the given alternatives, choose one which best expresses the given sentence in direct and direct speech. Please don't go away for lunch, Rakul said. So let me tell you direct sentences and indirect sentences. Why we have this topic for TCS? First of all, I want to give you some brief explanation about this particular topic. It will take 2 to 3 minutes, but it's very important. See, people, when we join as a freshers, we have to take care that the information flows from top to bottom, bottom to top, in a lateral direction, in a diagonal direction, and so many other things. What we have to take care is, we as an entity in a corporate sector, we have to let the information pass on without any distortion. And that's the reason direct speech and indirect speech is included in exams, in a campus recruitment exams, and specifically TCS. Okay, so let me give few rules how to translate the sentence from direct to indirect. So the rules are, if the sentence is in a simple present tense, we have to make that sentence, translate that sentence in indirect speech. For that, we have to use simple past tense. If the sentence is in a present continuous, we have to use the sentence in past continuous. If the sentence is in a present perfect, we have to use the sentence in a past perfect. But if the sentence is in simple past tense, we have to skip one hierarchical structure and go to past perfect tense. If the sentence is in a past continuous tense, we have to use the sentence in a past perfect continuous tense. So what happens? In present, it's a parallel verb, simple present, simple past. Okay, direct to indirect. Present continuous, past continuous, direct to indirect. Present perfect, past perfect, direct to indirect. Okay, but when it comes to past tense, we have to translate a sentence from direct speech to indirect speech. If the sentence is in a simple past, we have to skip one hierarchical structure and go to past perfect tense. If the sentence is in a past continuous tense, we have to go to past perfect continuous tense. If the sentence is from future, that means shall becomes will, may becomes might, will becomes would, can becomes could, would remains would, must to becomes had to. So these are some rules we have to follow. Now look at the question. Here the sentence is in simple present tense. Please don't go away for lunch, Rakul said. So we have to translate this sentence into indirect speech. Please don't go away for lunch. Okay. So we have a sentence in simple present tense. That sentence needs to be in a simple past tense. Okay. So the sentence here is in a direct speech with a past form of reporting said. Yeah, it's said. I'm sorry, it's said. The sentence is in a past form. The reporting verb is said. Okay, I did not see the reporting verb. Okay, since we have used the word please here, we know that sentence is assertive request tone. So for that, reporting verb is bet. So please don't go away. We use not to go away. Now here, what we have to do is, I missed one point. I missed a reporting verb. Now your reporting verb is said. Rakul said. So we have to say Rakul said that. Rakul said that he must not go away. Rakul said that, or Rakul requested that he must not go away for lunch. So this should have been the answer. Right? Let's go ahead. Fill in the blanks with an appropriate word among the options. Let us go to Starbucks and have, it's a simple one, have a hot chocolate shake. The hot chocolate shake, and is of course not this thing. So it's A. Here the blank is before an adjective hot. Since the shake here is A only shake in a quantity, we use A article. Let me tell you people, before I go ahead, so A is used for multiple adjectives. Here we are not talking about a demonstrative adjective, but here we are talking about a single, that is singular adjective. So here we use A, but in a adjective as a quantity, that is adjective as one. Let's go to Starbucks and have a hot chocolate shake. That is, we are talking about A. So it's an adjective of quantity. Fine. Let's go ahead. Deepika was worried about dash you are all right. Whether you are all right, if you are all right, either you are all right, none you are all right. So C and D has nothing to do with the fill in the blanks. The answer should be between A and B. But if there is a statement with if there is if in the blank, then there should have been condition. If you are all right. Yes. The answer should be between whether and if. I have told you, I have given you enough explanation. Good. So we cannot use either. I have already told you. Okay, here we have only one subject and one object, hence either is eliminated. Between whether and if, we use whether because the verb worried is about preposition, which is supposed to be followed by conjunction. In such a scenario, we use whether and eliminate if. So if is used as a sentence which shows a probability or a condition. As I've told you already, I've given you this explanation. So the answer should be if. Sorry, the answer should be whether. The answer should be whether because it is talking about condition. Okay, so here it's whether. Deepika was worried about whether you are all right. All the papers has been signed and the money provided. Simple, very simple. Papers, which is a plural form. Okay, singular. So the error here is subject verb agreement as we use have. It's very simple. Papers, he, she, it, third person has, I, we, you, they have, singular has, plural have. So the answer is have. The students were waiting for the judgment of Supreme Court on the NEET exams. So where is the error? The students were awaiting for the judgment of Supreme Court on the NEET exam. So let me tell you something about this particular thing. We are using the verb waiting or awaiting. So the answer is B, but let me tell you, awaiting for your reply. We write it below the letter once the letter is over. Okay. But where we cannot use the verb in this particular case because it's not something like gerund, which we are starting from first. It's the clear verb waiting. The students were waiting for the judgment of Supreme Court on the NEET exam. So definitely the answer is waiting. The meaning of awaiting in simple terms, waiting for. So the combination waiting for becomes awaiting, which eliminates an extra for. Okay. So that's what the answer is. In the question below, the sentences have been given in active voice to passive. From the given alternative, choose the one which best expresses the given sentence in passive to active voice. She makes new design for Masaba collections every Sunday. Every Sunday, new designs for Masaba collections made by her. New designs for Masaba collections are made by her every Sunday. New designs for Masaba collections make her every Sunday. That's not the answer. New designs for Masaba collections were made by her every Sunday. Active to passive. She makes. What happens in an active to passive? Let me tell you simple rules for active to passive. Okay. 5 rules. You just have to remember 5 rules for active to passive. Swap the subject and the object. That's the one thing. We have to use V3. Of course, that should be the verb. Okay. Then right now here the sentences she makes. Simple present tense. So here we have to use the auxiliary verb of a higher order, that is present continuous tense. So let me tell you in 1 minute, since we are talking about active voice and passive voice, uh, we use auxiliary verbs of higher order. So if the sentence is from simple present tense, we use the auxiliary verb from present continuous tense. If the sentence is in present continuous tense, we use the auxiliary verb from present perfect tense. If the sentence is from present perfect tense, we use the auxiliary verb for present perfect continuous tense, even though we do not translate active to passive for present perfect continuous tense. But if the I'm sorry, if the sentence is of present continuous tense, the auxiliary verb is am are remains constant, but there is one more word which is added. It is been, B-E-I-N-G, been. And same happens for present continuous and same happens for past continuous. The auxiliary verb which is added is B-E-I-N-G. Okay. But if the sentence is in simple past tense, auxiliary verb of past continuous is in used. If the sentence is in past continuous, the auxiliary verb remains the same, but bing been is added. If the sentence is in past perfect, the auxiliary verb of past perfect continuous tense is used. Let me tell you, there are 4 tenses in which we do not use the auxiliary verb of which we do not use from translating from active to passive. These are present perfect continuous, past perfect continuous, future perfect continuous, and future continuous. So here the sentences is in simple present tense, so we have to use the auxiliary verb were, and that's in the option D. New designs for Masaba collection were made by her every Sunday. Okay, made by her every Sunday. Priyanka wasn't aware of it was too late. Of course, that's not the answer. That it was too late. Of that it was too late. Okay, that it was too late to be at home. Okay, simple. You know this. It's a very easy thing. Sushant Singh was loving and generous. It's the correct order. We have to put the sentence in correct order. Some proverb idioms are given below together with their meanings. Choose the correct meaning of above of proverb idiom. If there is no correct meaning given, none of this will be the answer. Our plan ended in smoke. To make completely understand, none of this to excite great applause to ruin oneself. Our plan ended in smoke. Absolutely, the answer is D. To ruin oneself. To ruin oneself is the answer. Money Heist is the great show, a great show, and of course it's not. Okay, a great show. Fine. So that's it, people. I have discussed sentence completion, formal, informal. I have discussed rules. We have discussed some examples from active, passive, direct, indirect. Most important was formal, informal. We have discussed examples with respect to prepositions and pronouns, and we have discussed examples with respect to subject verb agreements as well. Fine. So let me go through the most important topic, which is reading comprehension. And here I'm going to start discussing reading comprehension, which is one of the very important topics. Before I go ahead with reading comprehension, let me tell you something about prepositions, because reading comprehension, of course, it's a very important topic, but I think I have to give you little explanation about the prepositions, because that's again a very important topic for from a fundamental grammar perspective. Okay, so prepositions basically, as I've given an explanation, preposition is a word used with noun or pronoun to show its relation with the object. So there are a lot of prepositions. I'll just uh, start from here. No. Give me a minute. Yes. Let me start with new screen, giving an explanation of what prepositions, are. Yes. So basically, prepositions are classified into, there are a lot of different classifications of prepositions, but the basic classification of prepositions, which I prefer, is talking about the prepositions, stationary prepositions, and prepositions in motion. So, like, let me tell you what's the difference. In used for bigger cities, bigger places, bigger things, but it's a stationary preposition. Into and inside are used as a prepositions and motion, or as we use on and upon. Again, these are on is a stationary preposition, upon is a preposition in motion. Let me give an example about the prepositions. Uh, for instance, we use prepositions above and below. Now, above and below, these prepositions comes with a reference point. But when we use top and bottom, these are not numbers, but they are locations. But when we use over and under, these are the prepositions which we are using when the things are in motion. Okay. But when we use up and down, these are the kind of prepositions up and down when there is no reference point. So up and down, no reference point. Over and under, these are when something you're talking about is in motion. Over and under, top and bottom are basically used as locations, and above and below are used for reference points. So take care of these things when you are dealing with the prepositions. When we use between, it's only used for two entities. When you use for mid as a preposition, let me tell you something. Most of the time we are habitual of using middle. Now, like, why he's speaking in the middle, that is an informal language. You cannot say why he's speaking in the middle. Okay, why he's speaking in between, that is again hypernated, or he was speaking during my conversation, something like this. But why are you speaking in between? You cannot say why are you speaking in middle. Okay, because middle is always used for numbers, and again that should be a odd number if you're talking about a single entity. If you're talking about even numbers, then we have to combine. Like if you're talking about six people and you say who is in the middle or who is standing in the middle, then you have to combine the third and the fourth and say he is standing in the middle. They are standing in the middle. So this is how we use middle. We use mid. Again, this both the terms are used in cricket. Middle stump, but we use mid wicket. It's a tentative area between the end point of the ground and the pitch. So that's we use mid. And in fact, my uh, favorite word is, since I watch this lot of air crash investigation and all that stuff. So mid air collision, mid week, mid month. Okay. So this is how we use mid. So take care of these things while you're dealing with prepositions. That's very important. The prepositions like from, again, this is one of the most incorrectly used preposition, from, because whenever we use from, you should be in a formal language. In a formal language, when we use from, you should be talking about two entities, that is the starting point and the ending point. So if I use from as a preposition, I'm going to conduct this lecture from 8 o'clock in the morning till 10 o'clock in the evening. So this is how we use from. Or today I traveled from Bangalore to Pune. So I use the starting point and ending point. This is formally you use from. Okay. So try to make the right use of prepositions. First, the prepositions are, please try to understand the prepositions are classified as stationary prepositions or prepositions which are in motion. There are a lot of different classifications of prepositions we need to take care about. Like there is a difference between among and amongst. So let me tell you. First difference between among and amongst. Most of the time, among and amongst is used for vowel and consonants. Among is used for vowel and amongst is used for consonant. This is one of the major difference with the preposition among. But let me tell you one more difference. So if you are among and amongst are like part of the same coin. If you are showing something that you are a part of a group. So like if you take a selfie and you post it, I am sitting amongst my friends, or I am sitting among my friends. You can better say I am sitting amongst my friends. But if you have to pinpoint somebody, like I am sitting amongst my friends, but Rohit is my, but among all my friends, Rohit is my close friend. So there you try to single out somebody, there you use among. Okay. So here are the two major differences of among and amongst. First is the vowel and consonant, and second is either you are a part of a group, we use amongst, I'm sitting amongst my friend, or when you are showing somebody, you are highlighting somebody. Like for instance, among all the batsmen in world cricket, Virat Kohli is my favorite batsman. So this is how you can use among. So people, to tell you something, take care of the prepositions. These are very important. Conjunctions, again, you have to take care in TCS grammar. Take care of conjunctions. As I've told you, there are three kinds of conjunctions: coordinate conjunctions, subordinate conjunctions, and correlative conjunctions. And coordinate conjunctions, because, but, subordinate conjunctions, if, else, uh, or I can say, uh, although, but also, these are all correlative conjunctions. So use them appropriately while spotting the error. So you have to take care of conjunctions as well while spotting the error. So these are the major things which you have to take care of. Now, let me go through the reading comprehension. Reading comprehension, very important. First of all, let me tell you something about passages. I think my screen sharing was not happening till now. I'm going to make the screen sharing once again. So uh, let me go to screen sharing once again, because I was sharing some other screen. I thought I was writing something on the whiteboard and that was visible to you. But right now I got to know that that was not visible. Okay, now I'll go to screen sharing once again, and I want you to understand. Okay, now my screen is visible. But for your reference, let me increase this font. Since I'm sharing this Word file, let me increase the font so that I'll be able to read the passage properly, and the screen will be visible to you. Yes. Now you should be able to read it properly. That's true. Okay, fine. So before I go ahead, let me give you a brief explanation about reading comprehension and what are the things you have to take care of. Okay. So first of all, reading strategies. Reading strategies are divided into two. First is selective intensive, and the second is wide extensive. Selective intensive reading strategy is to be used when we are by hearting. Now, in this particular case, reading comprehension, it is talking about comprehending skills and not remembering something, like remembering the facts, remembering the data, information. So that is not needed while you're writing the exam. So selective intensive strategy is eliminated. So let's go for the second strategy of reading, which is called wide extensive reading strategy. This particular strategy is used when you have to grasp something, when we have to absorb the content. We use wide extensive reading strategy. Okay, wide extensive reading strategy. But here again, in wide extensive reading strategy, we have three different classifications. Like there is a scheming technique, there is a scanning technique, and there is a flow state technique. Okay, so let me tell you, the objective of this particular topic, reading comprehension, is to understand your comprehending abilities, how quickly you can absorb the content from some write up. So there is a passage. The passage may contain 7 to 8 small paragraph or 5 to 6 small paragraphs, and there will be close to 5 questions at the bottom. So how to understand? Many times people ask me this question, how to understand which kind of a reading strategy we have to apply in a certain case. So let me tell you one thing. The reading strategy which you have to apply in anything is, first you have to read the question. You have to read all the 5 questions. Why? See, people, let's understand first thing. It's not a 8th class, 10th class, or 12th class exam that we are going to find keywords from the questions and then search the keywords in the passage and then select the answers. No, we are giving a professional exam. So let's understand what is the strategy which we have to use. Why we have to use the strategy in any given situation. So first of all, read the questions. Once you read the question, you have to create a mental framework. What is the mental framework? You have to understand the knowledge pyramid for that. I don't have time right now to discuss all this in an online session because it will take a lot of time. What is a knowledge pyramid? Knowledge pyramid is something like we divide the entire things into data, facts, ideas, concepts, which are one-liners kind of thing. A data is a number, information is an accrued data in a linguistic form, or uh, what we can say concept, idea. These are one ideas, these are one-liners or facts. Sometimes facts are changeable, sometimes facts are fixed. Sometimes facts are variable, sometimes facts are fixed. Sometimes facts are changeable, sometimes facts are variable. Sometimes facts are fixed, sometimes facts are variable. Sometimes facts are changeable, sometimes facts are fixed. Yes. Uh, yes, great. So now the things are very different. Here, you're not going to find any one-liners, but here you're going to find lot of questions on second aspects, that these will be knowledge-based question, perspective-based questions, assumption-oriented questions, or inference-based questions. So there are going to be a lot of things, and you'll have to take care of these things uh, while you are going through reading comprehension. So understand which reading strategy you have to apply. So if all the 5 questions are one-liners, you can directly use scheming technique. What is a scheming technique? Sometimes what does the author of the passage he does is he goes through kind of a bulbulaya, that is he gives lot of explanation in brief. I mean the explanation is in plenty and there are no one liners or we have to nothing to do with the this thing. So please do not get attached with the passage. The passage is not for something you have to read it. Passage is you to understand. If you really like the passage, you can search it on Google and read it afterwards. But what I would expect is, if all the 5 questions are one liners, straightforward data points, straightforward facts, information based questions, then use scheming technique. Directly search the one line answers, that is carry a pencil in your hand, just go through it, and the wherever you find the data or the information, just underline it and search them and directly find the answers with respect to that. So here we use scheming technique. Second is scanning technique. Now what is that? Here you have to create a mental framework, uh, that is understand where where is the knowledge based, which are the knowledge based questions, which are where is the thing where you have to draw an inference, where is the thing where we have to come to a conclusion, there may be an implicit conclusion or there may be an explicit conclusion. So try to understand all that stuff. Okay, so that is scheming technique, scanning technique. And the third is a flow state reading technique. What is a flow state? All the 5 questions, imagine all the 5 questions are not one liners, they are not data based, information based, but all the 5 questions are assumption oriented. You have to assume something from the write up, that is your passage. or you have to draw a conclusion, or you have to draw an inference. In that case, you have to read every alphabet, every word. You cannot skip any sentence, any alphabet, any word. That is, you have to go through a flow state. It's called a flow state reading strategy because your reading should be in a continuous flow. Okay, so that is the thing which we have to apply. Now I'm going to there is a passage in front of you. You can see that passage in your on your screen. Okay, you can see that passage on your screen. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you what are the methods of reading comprehension. First, what I'm going to do is, as I'm going to go through exam questions, because questions will really help me to uh, understand the reading strategy. So what is the first question is, what is the difference between approaches of Socrates and Aristotle? Here we are asked to assume something. Here we have the author, the question as like we have to read approaches of Socrates separately and we have to understand ourselves. Okay, since we have to understand it ourselves, this question is not a straightforward one-liner question. Okay, so what is the difference between approaches of Socrates and Aristotle? We have to draw a conclusion, that is inference based question. Okay, so that is one thing. Second question, why do educationists consider a weak philosophy a weak and woolly field? Now please understand, this question is a straightforward one liner. And why it is a straightforward one liner? Because there is a phrase weak and woolly used in a single inverted comma. So it's very simple 8th standard stuff. As we were doing in 8th standard, we have to find this phrase and you will get an answer. So it's a straightforward one liner. So one question was we have to draw a conclusion. Second question was a straightforward one liner. What do you understand by the term perennialism in the context of comprehension passage? So here again, you are supposed to understand the passage, understand the word, and in what context the word has been used in the passage. You have to understand that and you have to write an answer. Okay, were Plato's beliefs about education democratic? So here it is asked about Plato's beliefs. So we have to search the word democratic, but it's not respect to that particular verb. We have to understand the entire explanation given in that particular paragraph. What was the aspect, what was the perspective of Plato, and from that perspective, we have to draw a conclusion whether its beliefs were democratic or not democratic. We have to understand that. Okay. So why did Aquinas propose a model of education which did not lay much emphasis on facts? Facts are not important. Facts do not lead to holistic education. Again, in this question, we have to, either it may be a straightforward question or it may be, we have to understand, we have to draw our own conclusion by reading the passage. So let me tell you people, out of this 5 question, only one question is a straightforward one-liner, and that is the second question. Why do educationists consider philosophy a weak and woolly field? This is the only question which is a straightforward one-liner. Okay, so now we are going to start reading the passage. We have to read the passage only once, and then we have to find the questions. Find the answers from the question. So I'll start reading the passage for you people. Philosophy of education is the label applied to the study of the purpose, process, nature, and ideals of education. It can be considered a branch of both philosophy and education. Education can be defined as the teaching and learning of specific skills and imparting knowledge, judgment, and wisdom, and is something broader than the societal institution of education we often speak of. Now, we have read the entire paragraph. The paragraph opening is really good, but it has nothing to do with our answers, our questions, because our 5 questions were based on somebody, either philosopher like Socrates, Aristotle, Aquinas, okay, something like that. But nothing is there in this particular paragraph. Let's go ahead. Many educationists consider it a weak and woolly field. We have directly found a weak and woolly as the phrase. So now we are find the answers. Many educationalists consider a weak and woolly field too far removed from practical applications of the world to understand. So in this case, we can highlight or underline this particular thing. Okay, so we have found one answer because that was a straightforward one-liner. Since it was a straightforward one-liner, we have found the answer. Okay, now let's go ahead. People remember one thing. See, you can read questions 2 times. You can read questions 2 times, but you have to read the passage only once. You do not have all the time in the world to read the passage again and again. This is why it is called as reading comprehension. Your comprehending abilities are tested. Since your comprehending abilities are tested, you do not get the time to read the passage for the second time. So when you're reading the passage, read it carefully. First, read the questions. Based on your questions, you have to create a strategy. Which kind of reading strategy I'm going to apply in this particular case? Okay. So now let's go ahead. But philosophers dating back to Plato and the ancient Greeks have given the area much thought and emphasis, and there is a little doubt that their work has helped shape the practice of education over millennia. Okay. Plato, we have come up with our one question. Plato is the earliest important educational thinker, and education is an essential element in the Republic. His most important work on philosophy and political theory, written around 360 BC. In it, he advocates some rather extreme methods, removing children from their mother's care and raising them as wards of the state, and differentiating children suitable to the various castes, the highest receiving the most education, so that they could act as guardians of the city and care for the less able. He believed that education should be holistic, including facts, skills, physical discipline, music, and art. Plato believed that talent and intelligence is not distributed genetically and thus is found to be children born to all classes. Although his proposed education system of selective public education for an educated minority of population does not really follow a democratic model. We will come to questions. Don't worry, I have deliberately stressed on this particular sentence. Let's come to second one. Aristotle considered human nature, habit, and reason to be equally important forces to be cultivated in education, the ultimate aim of which should be to produce good and virtuous citizens. He proposed that teachers lead their students systematically and that repetition be used as a key tool to develop good habits. Unlike Socrates, you have to underline this word because the first question is on differentiating. What is the difference between the philosophy of Socrates and Aristotle? So underline the word unlike, because this is where your answer is hidden, is first question. Unlike Socrates' emphasis on questioning his listener to bring out their own ideas, he emphasized the balancing of theoretical and practical aspects of subjects taught, among which he explicitly mentions reading, writing, mathematics, music, physical education, literature, history, and a wide range of sciences, as well as play, which he also considered important. During the medieval period, the idea of perennialism, we have gone to the another thing, because this was the again sentence, this was again the question. During the medieval period, the idea of perennialism was first formulated by Saint Thomas Aquinas in his work De Magistro. Perennialism holds that one should teach those things deemed to be of everlasting importance to all people everywhere, namely principles and reasoning, not just facts which are apt to change over time, and that one should teach first about people, not machines or techniques. It was originally religious in nature, and it was only much later that a theory of secular perennialism developed. During the Renaissance, the French skeptic Michel de Montaigne was one of the first to critically look at education. Unusually, for this time, Montaigne was willing to question Montaigne was willing to question the conventional wisdom of the period, calling into question the whole edifice of educational system and the implicit assumption that university educated philosophers were necessarily wiser than uneducated farm workers, for example. Okay, so now we have read the entire passage carefully. We have to find an answers for all four. So What is the difference between approaches of Socrates and Aristotle? Answer is very simple. Go to the word unlike, because this is where the word unlike, the here it is hidden. Okay, unlike Socrates. So here he proposed the teacher should systematically and that repetition be used as a key tool. So Aristotle focuses on repetition. Okay, repetition. Socrates emphasize on questioning his listeners to bring their ideas. So this is where the answer is. So answer is first option. Aristotle felt the need for repetition to develop good habits, where Socrates felt that the students needs to be constantly questioned. So the answer is one in this particular case. Okay, so one is the answer. Why do educationists consider philosophy a weak and woolly field? It is not practically applicable. It is theoretical. Concepts are easily understood. It is irrelevant to the education. None of the above. Answer is one. The reason is we have already discussed here in weak and woolly field, too far removed from the practical applications of the real world to be useful. So the answer is one again. For two, the answer is one again. Why do educationists consider philosophy a weak and woolly field? Great. Let's come to what do you understand by the term perennialism in the context of comprehension passage? It refers to something which is of ceaseless importance. It refers to something which is quite unnecessary. It refers to something which is abstract and theoretical. It refers to something which existed in the past and no longer exists. So quite unnecessary. The second option is eliminated because it has nothing to do with the word perennialism. It refers to something which is abstract and theoretical. Again, this is not answer. Why? Because if you go to the passage and find the word perennialism, here you have find the word perennialism. Here it is talking about that holds one should teach uh, things which are deemed to be of everlasting importance to people everywhere. Everlasting, that cannot be finished. Everlasting. So, which word is synonym of everlasting? It is ceaseless. Ceaseless. Ceaseless is the word. So, again, for question number 3, 1 is the answer, ceaseless. Let me talk for a second on the word perennialism. The word perennialism comes from perennial rivers. Okay, we have two kinds of rivers, seasonal rivers, okay, and perennial rivers. Perennial rivers are the rivers which flow throughout the year. Okay, so the everlasting, ceaseless. So again, 3, 1 is the option. Now comes the important question. Were Plato's beliefs about education democratic? There are 4 options. He believed that only rich have the right to acquire education. Yes. He believed that only a select few are meant to attend schools. And 4th, he believed that all pupils are not talented. Okay. Now we should have found all the answers in the first go itself. But for your sake, right now, I'm going to go back to Plato and tell you which is the right answer. Okay, so here we talked about Plato. Plato is the earliest educational thinker, and education is an essential element in the philosophy. See, I'm not going to go into that explanation. In it, he advocates, here is the word advocate, advocates some rather extreme methods, removing children from their mother's care and raising them as the wards of state and differentiating children suitable to the various castes, the highest receiving the most education, so that they could act as the guardians of the city and care for less able. If we go by this sentence, then definitely answer is no. Were the Plato's beliefs about education democratic? Okay, he believed that only rich have the right to acquire education. He believed that only select few people are meant to attend the school. He believed that all pupils are not talented. Coming to this, 3 could have been the closed answer, but here we are talking about beliefs. We are not talking about what he advocated or what kind of model he proposed. Okay, So let me go back for your sake to let you help me give the explanation. He believed that. Now look at this. We are talking about the beliefs. So here he believed that education should be holistic, including facts, skills, physical discipline, music, and art. Plato believed, once again believed that talent and intelligence is not distributed genetically and thus is found to be born children in all cases. Although, although, although his proposed system of selective public education for an educated minority of the education does not really follow a democratic model, does not really follow a democratic model. So here, listen to this very properly. They have talked about three things. First is what kind of model he advocated. The kind of things which he had advocated, the education system which he had advocated is not a democratic in model. But what he believed is something which is very democratic. Okay, and there are two sentences on his belief. The third thing, although he proposed, the kind of model he proposed does not follow a democratic model. But the question is not on what he advocated or what kind of education model he proposed. The question here is on what were the Plato's beliefs about education? Were the Plato's beliefs about education democratic? And in this case, the Plato's beliefs were democratic because he believed that talent and intelligence is not distributed genetically and thus is found in children born to all classes. Children born to all classes. And hence, the answer is B. Yes, this should have been the answer because we are not talking about what kind of model he advocated or what kind of model he proposed. The question is about beliefs. So the answer is second. Were Plato's beliefs about education democratic? The answer is yes. Okay. Let's go to the fifth question. Why did Aquinas propose a model of education which did not lay emphasis on fact? Let me highlight did not lay emphasis on fact. Facts are not important. Facts do not lead to a holistic education. Facts change with changing time. Facts are frozen in time. Okay. So Aquinas, it's very easy. Here we are talking about Aquinas. Okay. Yes. Here we talked about everlasting importance to people everywhere, namely principles and reasoning, not just facts, which are apt to change over time, So here the answer is very easy, straightforward. Facts change with changing times. Answer is 3. Okay. So the answer is 3. I hope you have got why we have to create a knowledge pyramid or a mental framework, divide the questions between facts, data, and all the one-liners, knowledge, perspective, assumption, inference, and all that stuff. The reason you have to create a mental framework is because the questions are not one-liners as they were in your 8th standard, 10th standard, 12th standard. Most of the time, TCS focuses on your comprehending abilities, what kind of comprehending skills you possess. And that's the reason questions are never one-liner. So here you cannot have a selective intensive reading strategy. Here you have to have a wide extensive reading strategy. Passage has to be read only once. What kind of strategy you need to apply, which kind of reading strategy you need to apply, you get to that by first reading the questions, understand which questions are one-liners, understand which questions are straightforward facts or informative questions or straightforward data liners. Try to understand which are perspective-based questions, assumption-based questions, inference-oriented questions, and then decide a reading strategy, select a reading strategy, read the passage only once. You have to read it only once, comprehend it properly. Always carry a pencil in your hand when you're reading a passage because that will really help you to create a mental framework and help you to divide the passage. And then once you have read the passage, again come to the question second time, and then you will find the appropriate options. Okay, so there are different things which we have to follow. Let me tell you one more thing which I must not miss from reading comprehension. Many times in a passage there are a lot of indefinitives included in the passage. What are indefinitives? The things like someone, anyone, somebody, nobody, or something, nothing. So these are infinitives, indefinitives, which we have to understand, because that will really confuse you if there are 4 to 5 different parameters, sorry, 4 to 5 different entities in the passage, different characters, and the word anything, something, or someone, anyone has been used. We have to closely follow these words in order to get the correct answers. Okay, or there can be the words like always, never, sometimes. Again, please underline these words to uh, get to your comprehending ability, that is your comprehending with respect to that particular entity. So please take care of these words as well. Okay, whenever you find connectives, nevertheless, however, conjunctions kind of sentences, so please take care of these connectives, conjunctions, the words with conjunctions, nevertheless, however, despite, although. So these words will really help you to draw a conclusion, draw an inference, or help you to form a perspective. So please take care of these words as well when you are going through reading comprehension. Vocab, uh, please people use interpretation technique. If the word in any reading comprehension is really alien to you, that means you don't understand, you have never heard about that word, then please use interpretation technique, that understand what the passage is all about and try to interpret the meaning instead of trying to recall the meaning. Of course, you if the word is really not something, if any word which is not heard by you, then try to go to the root words, understand what is the meaning of root words. Please focus on prefixes and suffixes, and then you will be able to interpret the meaning of the word correctly, and this is how you will be able to solve the questions. Last option with vocabulary section is, if you're not able to understand the meaning of a certain words in your passage, then please read the conclusion and try to again interpret the meaning. What is the conclusion? What is the theme of the passage? What is the central idea of the passage? And with the help of central idea, what is that message which author wants to give? Through that uh, message, try to interpret the meaning of the passage. Sorry, meaning of the word, particular word. Okay, so please take care of your vocab. Best method is, of course, LSRWT is the best method for vocabulary section. That is just not looking the word in the dictionary. If you are practicing it, practice the meanings, understand the meanings of the root word, understand prefixes and suffixes, and try to use interpretation technique for the vocabulary section in reading comprehension. Okay, vocabulary section in reading comprehension. So there are mix of passages. And one more important thing, content and context. So most of the time, content, that is central idea, is something very different. And the context in which the question has been asked, that is different. So please understand what is the context of the question. Even though the content may be pointing out to something else, understand the context of the question, from which perspective the question has been asked. So there you have to focus on context. Many times in reading passages, most of the student face focus on content. Yes, content is very important. That really helps you to grasp the entire central idea of the passage and give the direction to the passage, but many times questions are asked from a different perspective. Okay, so please understand the context of the passage as well. And always remember, you can read, you have uh, all the time to read the questions twice, but you don't have a time to read the passage two times. You have to read the passage only once. So people, this was about the today's sessions. It's 8:10. Uh, I want to stop screen sharing, but a quick revision about the passages. Okay, quick revision about the passages. Understand the reading strategies, flow state reading strategy. Most of the time, in a higher level passage where you have to use your comprehending skills, you have to uh, focus on flow state reading strategy. If there are straightforward one liners and the passage is very narrative, you can use scheming technique. Please do not get attached to the passage. So these are the things which you need to take care of during your passages. Before we go to our business end of the session, let me go through the topics once again, because that will really help you to understand the pattern. Okay, from fundamental grammar, prepositions, conjunctions, subject verb agreement, articles, and tenses are the things which you have to take care of. Subject verb agreement as well, phrases and idioms. And from applicative English, you have to take care of the things like reading comprehension, okay, sentence completion, and parajumble, or what we call it as a sentence rearrangement. So from TCS perspective, these three topics are really, really important, and please take care of these topics from TCS perspective, TCS point of view. Okay, let me go through the questions. If there are any questions, let me read the questions. Okay, great. If there are any questions, I want to see them in your chat box. Himanshu has answered plenty of questions. Okay, Krishna Mishra, Himanshu Mishra. Okay, great. If there are questions, I want to spend at least 5 minutes. I know it's the closing time. It's a business end of our sessions, 2 hours workshop, but TCS specific workshops. But if there are any questions, I would definitely like to welcome them. I don't have any questions in the chat box. Okay, I'll wait for 1 minute. And if I get any questions, then definitely. Fine. Since it's 8:15 and I could not see the questions, we'll stop the session here. Thank you very much, people. I wish you very all the best. Please take care of your NQT. Go through this preparation series, okay, for TCS specific preparation series, and try to solve almost all the questions. Focus mostly on formal skills, formal writing skills. That's very important. So with this, I would like to end the session. Thank you, everyone, uh, for attending the session. I hope this has added some value to your verbal ability. Thank you. Thank you once again. Please prepare it very properly and get the highest possible salary which you really deserve. Thank you very much. Good night, everyone.